discuss one of the niche areas of the IoT and its usage in smart cities, because uh, what we perceive is that smart cities is all going to be uh, possible because of the technology enablement, and IoT is going to be the biggest enabler for making the success of smart cities. And as you're all aware that the smart cities and the smart city projects have been most actively discussed realizations in the recent past, and it has been made possible because of the integrated Internet of Things approach. Uh, in the last 1 year, we have seen large number of disruptive technologies coming in, may it be IoT, machine learning, AI, AR. So all those technologies will be the one which will assist in the success of smart cities. In the period from 2017 until 2020, uh, all the smart cities projects, especially what we know in India, are poised to be sharply increasing. And as we move from ad hoc smart city projects to the first time smart city which is going to see the light of the day, uh, this growth is in fact going to start, and we have started to seeing it right in 2017 with few of the smart cities project RFPs rolling out, some of the projects coming on ground, and its enablement through the Internet of Things. The announcement of new smart city initiatives and investments are also accelerating. And if we look at major IoT projects, smart city projects are amongst the best which are going to happen. Lessons from the early initiatives are being shared and positive returns are expected. So as and when we keep growing, we are going to see the better utilization of the technology, the ease of governance, which we are going to see in times to come. A word about myself. I am an alumni of IIT Kharagpur. Worked in defense for almost 2.5 decades, and also my forte being the cybersecurity. I was CIO of an e-commerce company, and now I'm a director of smart cities in a Stanford Geomatics. And I'm also a founder of IoT, the Smart IoT Council, and executive member of ESA IoT Security, which is primarily now looking into the best practices, standards, white papers specific to the IoT. Now, as we see that as the cities are growing bigger, it's more about everything. It's more about people, more about infrastructure, more about roads, more about houses, more about the complicated lifestyle, the traffic, and managing those traffics is becoming difficult. It's the education requirements are increasing, your innovations are increasing, your creativity is increasing, the health facilities are increasing, but it's also got minuses. It's an increase of the transportation issues, congestion, pollution, diseases, shortcoming of the houses, crime. So in effect, these are the pitfalls of having a larger city. So any city which comes up will have its own pluses and minuses, which will use the technology so that we have a level playing field for all the problem areas which we overcome, and we are able to make the life in the city comfortable. Right. As you see that the life in cities are getting more complex, there are multiple stakeholders with different priorities, different departments are taken care of. There is natural prosperity towards a silo working. The different departments of the say municipal corporation or any of the MCDs which are there, they work in silos, they don't share data. In effect, what we are doing today is we are filling the same information again and again with different departments. If you're going for a telephone, we fill in the same information. We're going for the registry of the data, we are going in for a similar kind of input. So it's a repetitive kind of data what we are using. And there's a peculiar problem of a diverse population with diverse needs in a city, and rapidly changing national and international context, which we're all aware that the dynamics are changing. So the city requirements are also changing. And there's always a resource constraints. For this, we require a new, smarter way of thinking and working. How we are going to do it, we are going to cover up in the subsequent slides. So practically what makes a city smart, right? If you look at it from the lower part of the slide, the social development, communities, villages, and citizens, which actually are the one of the main pillars for making the city smart. You have smart homes, smart healthcare, smart education, hospitality, and entertainment. Also, you have, when you look out from the urban development, security, and sustainability side, you have the smart utilities, which entails smart grid, smart water management, smart gas pipelines, smart waste management. Then you have the safe city, which takes care of the safety and security in a city. You have the smart traffic and transportation, where you have the traffic management system, you have the smart traffic routing system, and you also have smart buildings, so that the carbon which has been emitted into the environment is lesser day by day. And what is making it possible? The ICT is a layer what we are anticipating will be the one which will actually help us get over all the problems. We'll have more of connected city. We'll have the smart city intelligence, where you have a centralized command and control center from where the complete city would get monitored. Any problems which are happening in the city will be monitored. It can be reported. And what is going to happen is it's going to ease the life of the citizens. We'll have large number of sensors which will be placed in any of the cities. So how it's going to happen, if you see the slide on the right hand side, is the Internet of Things, which are going to have the devices. What we are anticipating, almost 20 billion devices are going to be there in the market, and it's going to be 6 devices per person. That's what we are anticipating. There will be huge amount of information flow. There will be intelligent computing, and also the data analytics, data mining, data science. So those all technologies are going to be used in the right perspective in real time to give the right input to the citizens, and for the enablement of their and the ease of their lives. And also the collaborative response, what we are talking of, talking of the silos earlier. Here we are going to be talking of the collaborative response of the information for the betterment of the citizens. Now, as we all aware, the current silos are making our information decisions very, very difficult, right? What I brought out in my earlier slide is that may it be your public security, your city management, your transportation, your healthcare, all those informations are in silos today. Maybe a SCADA system, or maybe the red light system which is there is managed by a SCADA. Transportation system is managed by a different kind of network. The power grid system again is being managed by a different SCADA, right? The energy systems are managed by a different SCADA systems. So they're all working in silos. What we're trying to do is we're trying to interwork all these silos onto a singular platform, so that we have kind of information which can be shared when required, that can be processed, and the right kind of analytic tools can be created and used to give you the right kind of insights into different networks, which entails, say for example, in the case of the water management system, you have different sensors which will be placed all across the water pipelines. In case of any damage to any point in water pipeline, it can be monitored and the corrective action can be taken. Similarly, it can be a pay-per-use for electricity. You'll have the smart meters at your home, and the electricity can be controlled right from the control center, and the electricity can be given as per your paying model. So a lot of insights can be created, a lot of data can be created, and this will all help in making the efficient decision making in a smart city. So the IoT, when it will be used in smart cities, would be giving the decision to the decision makers and also the citizens for their enablement and ease of living. So it's a win-win, going to be a win-win situation for both of them. Now, the smart city common service platforms would be, being put across. That's what I'm trying to promote. It's going to be eliminating silos. What we've been saying in my earlier slide is that you have a public security, you have traffic management, healthcare, your utilities, all working in the silos. We'll have the smart city common service platform. That's a command and control center, which will get created. All the sensors which are going to be put in the city will be congregated onto a single platform, and on that platform you will be a kind of in the command and control center there will be a data wall which will get created, and on that data wall we'll be able to see all the facilities of, say, water management, grid management, the traffic management, layer by layer, and that will be displayed all on the GIS. So in effect, in case there's a traffic block and there's a ambulance which has to be routed, there'll be a shortest path methodology which can be utilized, the algorithms can be utilized, and the traffic lights can be coordinated effectively, and the routes can be surveillanced so that the life of the person gets saved, and he doesn't get stopped or snarling traffic. So all those things are going to be a bigger game changer, right? So we are going to eliminate the silos, work in correlation or coordination with each of the facilities which are available, and that's all the IoTs which are enabling these kind of things. Yeah. Now, what is the objective of the smart city? We need to understand that, and it is to create a replicable model which can act like a lighthouse to other aspiring cities. We don't want silos to be created again. We want a replication of the similar model. So what a city, maybe for example, a Delhi or a Bombay or a Bangalore has got a feature of the facilities, it should be replicated. The similar kind of thing should be also replicated to, say, Bhopal, Jabalpur, Varanasi, Belgavi. So it should be a replicable model. So that will make all the cities smart. It will also ensure a clean and sustainable environment and application of smart solutions. It will also provide infrastructure and give a decent quality of life for the citizen. This point is very important because when we talk of smart cities, it is the inclusion of the citizen which is very important. The technology is enablement. Smart city is the output of the technology enablement, but it is going to ease the life of the citizen. That's the gist of the requirement of the smart city. And we should focus on a sustainable and inclusive development for all in smart city. Right. So practically when we talk of a smart city, we talk of 4 smart city layers. The bottom line being the sensor. This will be all the cameras, monitoring, traffic lighting, buildings, environment. There'll be a huge plethora of sensors which will put all across the city. They'll be monitoring the data in real time and in near real time. When I say near real time, it's a trade-off of IoT device, the life of the IoT device in terms of the battery usage and the bandwidth is what is the data required for the enablement of the technology and the usage of that particular data for the citizens. Say, for example, environmental data. We don't require a data to be pushed every 5 minutes. So we can push the data after 1 hour or 2 hours, depending on the requirement. Whereas the traffic data refresh rate could be much shorter, maybe 5 minutes, where it's pumping the data back to the cloud and the right kind of analytic tools are being used. Then is the communication layer, and the communication layer is the one which communicates to your the data center, and all the data which is there goes to the city management, and where it's going to be processed using the data analytic tools, your deep learning, your data science, and this data will be gainfully utilized for the citizens and also for the agencies who are taking the decision for enablement. And this is how it's going to be utilized by the utility department, your police department, your healthcare department, your traffic department, education, and subsequently the transport. So all those departments would be utilizing the data which is available to them. And this all happening in the projects which are being fielded. So what smart city is going to do is it's going to be facilitating the smart city and it facilitate the governance of any city. On the left hand side of the viewfinder, if you look at it, is a traditional operating model. What we are following is every department is a silo, right? We have the energy, waste, water, telecom, housing, all those things are silos. And if you look at the rightmost corner, the leftmost corner, there's a infrastructure which is already available. There's some of the data which is already available, services which are already available, and the customer delivery is already available. But unfortunate part, the citizen is not been benefited by any of these because it's a repetitive data. It's everybody's requirement is different. The departments are not talking to each other. So how you are trying to work out onto an integrated operating model? In the integrated operating model, it's the same kind of departments which are there, and which you see in blue, the energy, waste, water. Now you put the service management layer, business management layer. You have the digital asset management. So all these layers are being put using the technology, and these are being utilized to give the right kind of customer and the services, customer delivery and the services. So in effect, it is giving the city information or the information which is required by the citizen in a smart and right possible manner. So the delivery model in the integrated operating model is going to change. So we are practically obviating the silos and making them work in a very cohesive manner. And that is the strength of a smart city, which is going to happen through the IoTs and the sensors and the ICT. Now, what we perceive, I'm going to be talking of India specific part, is that by 2020 we are anticipating around 590 million people will start living in cities. There'll be 87 cities which will be so-called urban cities from the present 53, and they'll have, I stand corrected, there'll be 87 cities which will have a population of 1 million plus from the present 53. There'll be almost 1.2 trillion capital investment which is being projected. There's 7,400 kilometers of metro which will be needed to be constructed, and that's going to be a huge capacity which will be required. And there'll be 2.5 billion square meters of road which will have to be paved, which is 20x the capacity which has been added in the past decade. So there's a huge urbanization which is anticipated in times to come. Now, population being one of the criteria for for selecting the cities in the smart cities which have been selected so far. As you're all aware, there are 100 smart cities which have been selected, and They have been selected in kind of 20 in the first 2015, then 14 2016, and 14 2017. So that makes a figure of 100 smart cities. And if you uh, understand as to how the smart cities have been selected, it was not a very rampant approach. They went very systematically through different parameters which was being put. They were being put through, and that is how the cities were selected. And there are almost at least two smart cities in majority of 29 states, and the benchmark was a population of 1 million was taken as a potential smart city. And city capital, heritage cities, and cities nearby to the metro are being preferred to be the smart cities. And parameters like urban reforms, revenue collection, sanitation level, the capacity of the municipal bodies to the select city were one of the parameters which were taken into account while selecting a city to be smart. And some of the cities which are having a bigger urban population are already being taken as to be developed as smart cities. So when we look at uh, the smart city selection procedure, there was a selection procedure which was laid out, and there were agencies which were hired to make the documents, and they were being put through the selection process, and the selection has come through. And this is in the three phases the cities have been selected. Right. This on the view file I have tried to show as to what are the 100 smart cities that have been selected in various states. And to give you a data correct, there are almost 100 plus as of now which have been selected. And the work on few of the smart cities are already begun with their command and control centers coming up. And if you see, there's a huge rush of RFPs being given back to back for command and control centers and other smart city features which have been part of the project, and they'll be rolling out those projects in times to come. Right. Now, uh, these cities have been a mix of urban, semi-urban. They have been a business or a financial hotspots. So, what actually is the advantage we're going to get by making these cities smart? Is it's almost 190 billion contribution to the Indian GDP, which is going to take place. Uh, what has been identified is that 65 tier 3 cities will be pushed to more than that, which will happen. Then cities having more than population of 1 million have been identified. So these will make the city, the life of the citizen very smart. And if you look at, there are almost 35 cities from UP, Tamil Nadu, and Maharashtra itself. So these are the states which will be best utilizing when they are being selected as smart cities. Right. And some of the positive impact of smart cities which have been anticipated is that more than 200 billion additional contribution to the GDP, more than 10 million number of jobs which is going to get created by smart city initiative, and that is almost a rise of 10 to 15% in employment, and 40% of contribution of smart cities in urban population of India. That is 70% in terms of the economy by 2020, and more than 10% of real estate industry contribution to Indian GDP by 2020 from 6% in 2015. And this is one very interesting is that we all know that we waste a lot of fuel while standing in traffic on the traffic red lights. Is there going to be a more than 10 billion saving the traffic congestion with the help of the smart technologies? When we talk of the traffic management system, the traffic routing in case of any blockages. And there's going to be 40% reduction in the energy consumption due to smarter infrastructure, and there's going to be 50% saving in water losses. So these are the kind of effects which the smart city is going to be putting on us in times to come, and it's all due to the technology. Just to give you a feel of various components of smart cities. It's going to be a city renewal where the complete city has been, going to change with the enablement and co-creation of a new layout with enhanced infrastructure. Then there's going to be a greenfield development methodology which they're going to have, and also there'll be a pan application of smart city solution. So it will be across the complete city. They're going to be change of, say, for example, the intelligent traffic management, recycling and reuse of water, metering and citizen services. So it will be put across the pan city for development. Now, some of the cities are resilient to be resilient smart cities. How this is going to happen is, I've put in a review foil, is we are inching towards becoming the smart cities in the shortest possible time. If you look in from the other smart cities all across the world, maybe a Singapore or the Barcelona, which is there, but the way forward and the good part of the Indian smart city is that we are using the technology in the right perspective and in the shortest period of time. So, and also what we are trying to do is that we have gone in for multiple projects at the same time. So that is the one, the biggest enabler. For example, the Digital India project, which is already coming up. Amrut is another project of bringing up 500 the middle towns which are there with ICT addition. Then is Hriday, which is the upbringing of the heritage towns, and also the Make in India, which is enabling the smart cities to come up in a bigger manner. And the flagship project, the Smart Cities, is of course the one which is doing wonders. I'm very sure that the way the things are on ground, we are going to see the light of the day of smart cities in India in a very short period of time. Right. I'm just going to touch upon the financing of smart cities because this is one question which I always get as to the smart cities, how they're going to be funded, how it's going to be working, because there's a huge amount of investment which is going to take place when we talk of the smart cities going to come up. To put you in a perspective that India will need almost 7 lakh CR over next 20 years for development of infrastructure, and 3 lakh crores for next 10 years for ICT intervention. Now, when we look in for the funding by the different people, is that there'll be a Government of India funding of almost 500 CR, and there'll be a matching contribution by states of 500 CR, which is going to happen. And how we are going to get that money back? This money is going to come back by the user charges. It will be kind of pay-per-use kind of model what we're going to have. The projects which are going to be rolled out would be in a PPP partnership or a boot model, what we are trying to do. Then we're going to come up with a very innovative, that the municipal corporation are going to come up with municipal bond for the first time. And there was an EDCA rating which happened last 4-5 months back, in which Pune figured out to be the #1 city for having municipal bonds, followed by Jabalpur. And it's all dependent on the credibility of the municipal corporations or the city administration, so that the people will buy the bonds and that money will be coming into the cities for development. And then you'll also have the borrowing from the bilaterals and the multilaterals, which you're going to have some amount of national investment and infrastructure funds, which is going to be utilized. So how are you going to actually get the money back? You're going to be paying the property taxes, you're going to be paying the professional taxes, entertainment taxes, your advertisement taxes, your octroi. So today, what is happening in silos will be all put together onto a single platform. Say, for example, if a particular property, those people are staying there, they will be mapped with their PAN card, their Aadhaar card, their income tax details. So on the GIS, on a geospatial information system, we'll be able to pinpoint a particular property with all the details of a particular person, whether the tax has been paid, whether he's fulfilling the requirements, whether the property is a legal property which is had. So all those informations are going to be there on the platter for the agencies to take decision and utilize it. Now, what we are trying to do is, now going to change the gears from the smart cities as to and coming on to how the IoT is practically, enabling this smart city vision. So we are looking in for end-to-end digitization. What it entails is your data, your things, your processes, and not but the least is the people. That's the citizen inclusion. So these are the four pillars of the smart city. So what we're going to have is we're going to have a mobility, we're going to have sensor networks and networks as a sensor. Then we have the data, we have networks as fog, we have connected cloud, we have distributed networks. So all those things which are going to be forming the part of smart city. And we are going to be having a kind of three types of smart cities. One is the ROI driven, like I already brought out, is that return of investment, whatever is the money what we are putting in, we want to have that money back. The people are going to pay per use model. They're going to give the things back for the development. We have the carbon driven, where we are wanting to have the lower footprint of the carbon, which is being pumped back into the environment and make the city clean and green. So that's very important. And then is the vanity driven, where we are trying to work out that the life of the citizen should be comfortable and ease of living is the methodology what we are thinking of. So it's all about making smart everything. Your smart logistics, your smart lighting, your smart parking, your smart water, buildings, your smart highways, your food safety, your guardians, your CCTV or the cameras, the smart energy, and fault diagnosis. So it's a plus, 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 plus. So everything what we are seeing today is getting added to that smart. How far we are able to achieve, only time will tell, but it's happening. Now, what are the technology enablers for this? We're all aware that there are a huge amount of disruptive technologies which have come up in the last 1 or 2 years. And the Gartner graph, if you see, it shows a very positive, kind of a vision for disruptive technologies to be seeing the light of the day as when we move forward. And within 3 to 5 years, we are anticipating things to happen. We also, as a next stage, we're talking of the AI or the cognitive systems in times to come. So today, when we talk about cloud computing, we also talk about the fog computing in the same breath, right? So that, and also talking of the serverless environment in time to come. So that's all about the cognitive intelligence, which is going to be there at the edge. So Internet of Things are the mainstay of the technology, and these are the ones which will be enabling a lot of things in the future. So when we talk of the technologies, it is all about your big data analytics, your mobility, your cloud, artificial intelligence, connected world, that's the IoT, and robotics, augmented and the VR, and the data science and the deep learning, your machine learning. So these are the enabling technology, which will be the biggest enablers for any smart cities. And when we look in from an industry and a business perspective for the digital economy, so on the view file you can see that how the IoT or the technology and the ICT is actually helping us in ease of living, I'll say. For example, your seamless payments, your connected healthcare, your sustainable manufacturing, what we're talking about is Industry 4.0, your immersive learning, the machine learnings, and painless driving. We're also talking of the electric cars, the digital cars, the electric cars, what we're talking of, the auto cars, which are going to happen. You are also the AI-based cars. Then is the personalized consumption and everything as a service. So Uh, it's the canvas is very huge as regards the technology enablers are concerned, but it's all possible in the times of, say, from next 2 years to 5 years and 10 years subsequently. And we are going to see a lot of changes in times to come. Now, when we come on to the ICT infrastructure structure, our principles, it's a human-centered, one second. Talk of a human-centered inclusive design, right? Where the user interfaces and applications are designed in such a manner that they're going to be understood by all. We're going to have mobile apps which are understood by a normal person on a mobile. We're not going to have complicated apps or the web browsers which are going to be there. The same kind of information is going to be given to the stakeholders through multiple channels like mobile, your web, your kiosk or phone. So the information is all going to be available to them. We are going to be following the open standards so that we don't have the problem of interoperability. We don't have the problem of the integration issues that are going to be there. And it will ensure the standardization of the information moving from the sensor to the cloud and to the user. So this is how it's being anticipated, and it will reduce the TCO, and the information will be available. We'll be also going in for a technology and vendor agnostic kind of information, where the solution, which is a technology and vendor agnostic, and it's going to help achieving a cost effectiveness in a big way. And it's also going to be SOA and the service oriented design to ensure that it's a technology independent, reusability, interoperability, and integration issues are not being a hassle when we are using. Then we are also looking in from a preparedness for failure in case the complete system fails. So it's a resilient system, and it should be designed to tolerate any failure and have a recovery tool so that it recovers in the shortest possible time. And it should be a fit for purpose, and it should be reusable, and it should be unique. We are thinking of that each capability should be implemented once without repudiation, it's without duplication, and also the web and the interface service should be exposed to ensure reusability and integration aspect. Then we are also looking in from an integrated approach where we have integrated planning, execution, monitoring of applications and systems to ensure the wheel is not reinvented. Solutions are not over-engineered, and the ownership is very clear. So these are the ICT principles which are going to be utilized when we are going to use the IoT in the smart cities. When we come on to the that was the architectural principles, and when we come on the same thing as regards the layers are concerned. From the top, when we talk of the access layer, we talk of the it provides multiple channel access to stakeholders. Then we talk of the security, where it comprises of comprehensive security framework. It talks of standards, policies. It talks of the identity management, your infrastructure, application and data instrumentation, and physical security. So all the security would be taken care of in the security layer. As if the IoT security has got its own challenges when we talk of in smart cities, because there's going to be a problem of your patch management, the problem of the encryption standards, your bandwidth, your authentication issues are coming up. So there's a huge plethora of IoT security which needs to be standardized before the networks are actually rolled out, and we don't compromise on any of the security issues in times to come. Then we also have the application and intelligence, which is going to enable the smart city domains like water, transportation, energy, and also the core enterprise applications like ERP. So that is the abstraction layer, what we are going to be talking of, and this will be one of the major enabler in the smart city. Then we talk of the data layer, which provides a basic data management capabilities and advanced capabilities like your master meters and the data management, your dashboarding, your reporting, your data management analytics. So this is the data layer which will play a major important role. Then is IoT and M2M layer, which is for going to simplify the connectivity, device management, your sensors, data management, your data acquisition, and also going to provide the capabilities to monitor, manage, control, and the connected sensors and devices. And then is the communication layer, which again is quite fragmented, and like we all knowing that, in case of the IoT, we are still struggling onto the LoRa or 6 low band and Big Z and the Zigbee and the RFID. So all those communication layer which is going to be there is taken care of, which is going to provide the wireless and the wired connectivity medium. And then is the instrumentation layer, which is the lowest layer, which constitutes the sensors, your meter, your devices, and cameras and the controllers. So this is where your complete ICT architecture layer, how it's going to, be looking at. Now, on this view file, I have actually, this is a very noisy slide, but if you look at, this is how the complete technology of the IoT, Internet of Things, is going to come and being put into smart cities. If you look at from the bottom, I think it's getting covered, where you have the complete sensors, maybe your camera, your water meters, your grid sensors, or the GPS. They're all going to be connected, and then you have a device layer on it, top of it, where your different kind of devices, maybe a browser, your mobile, or the internet, will get connected. And then is the network layer, is the internet, your LAN. They then get connected to your platform layer. The platform layer is the most important of it, where you're going to have the system administrator and the terminal administrator who are going to be sitting and looking into the business network administrator and the interaction network administrator. So all those things are going to be to how it is being utilized. Is when we look at the lower part of the slide, which somehow it's not visible, is all the sensor devices which have been placed all across. And on the sensor devices, through the sensor device, the data gets generated and it is going through the device layer, and the M2M communications and gateways. You have the access point, and also you'll also be connecting all the sensors to the access points, from where you actually get connected to the network layer. And network layer is the communication networks which are connecting the access points. It may be 5G, it may be the LoRa, or the other networks what we are anticipating, LTE. Then we have the platform layer. The platform layer is the most important. This layer is practically in the command and control center. And what it does is a multifold tasking. Is it does the business network administrator. It plays the role of your interaction network administrator. It also plays the role of a system administrator and the terminal administrator. So when we talk of the business network administrator and the interaction network administrator, is the complete operations which are happening as regards your terminal management, your terminal application management in the sensors, your software management in the sensors, your task management in the sensors, is all been taken care of by the operations management. Then you have a system management layer where the data management and the resource management of the sensors is being controlled. Then is on the side of the interaction network administrator, is you take care of the business management, the business logic of your the IoT devices. You're looking from the enterprise access management, your enterprise account management. Then you are also looking in from an administration platform, that is, the maintenance management, preventive maintenance, your application management. So if you look at it, this is the heart of the command and control of the smart cities, where you're actually managing all the IoT devices. starting from its physical securing or the physical management of the devices to controlling the application, the device, its business logic, its preventive maintenance, its predictive maintenance, its patch management, its updation, its interoperability issues. All those things are being taken care of by these two layers in smart cities, or and what we get is the right kind of information. Then on the left hand side, we have the access portal, where you have the system administrator and the terminal administrator, and on the right hand side you have the operator interface, and you also have a general software interface for the management of the software. And this particular layer actually gets connected to the application layer. Application layers are the ones which are the traffic management, your environment, water management, or the e-governance. Also your transport, your electricity, and the fire management. So these are the applications what we are actually talking of in any particular smart city. And then is your kind of terminals which are going to be connected. You'll be getting connected to your kiosks, or your browsers, or your mobiles, and the top of it is the last but not the least is your people, your government, and the business. So the B2C, the B2B, and B2G, and these are the and the G2G. So all these kind of business logics are going to be utilizing. So this particular slide is kind of putting together all the nuts and bolts of IoT and its usage in smart cities. Some of the IoT applications in smart cities is I've put in a view file is on, say, for example, in smart homes, you can do fire detection, you can do temperature monitoring of the house, your security systems can be controlled, your social network supporting can be there. Then is a smart parking lots where you can look into from the number of cars in the parking, or environment monitoring, mobile ticketing, your traffic congestion controls. Then is the healthcare where you're collecting identification data, tracking, your sensing data. And then is the water and weather systems. You get a plethora of information from the IoTs which are being used for the weather and the water systems, in terms of quantity of water, your leakage of water, the levels which are there, the contamination. So all those things put together. Then is the transportation where you're having the camera monitoring, which gets deployed in the complete city, your travel scheduling, your traffic jam reduction, where you can have the best, the shortest path algorithm, which can be utilized to get the shortest path through the traffic in case of congestion. You can have the red light system or the traffic light system control, which can be taken place because of the congestions. Then you can also have the assisted driving, which can take place. Then you have the environmental pollution, where you have the greenhouse monitoring, your energy efficiency monitoring, your renewable energy usage, air quality monitoring, noise pollution monitoring. So these are the kind of sensors which will be put. Then is the surveillance, that's the safety and security, where we have the CCTVs, your violent detections, your public monitoring, your kind of face recognition, which has come up now. There's the algorithm which are coming up, where you can detect the people who are moving in public, so that in case of any criminals who are moving in, they can be detected. Then you can assist traffic police in doing their job. Object tracking, you can do it. So there are large number of things which you can actually do using IoT. This is only one part of the IoT applications I'm showing. They are huge and huge. The list is, as we look at it, is growing every day, right? Now, I have taken one of the studies which were done, where the IoT and its global share in the IoT projects have been debated. My aim to show you this slide is that the smart city is the major kind of user of, or the kind of is going to take the global share in terms of the IoT projects. The first one being the connected, that's the Industry 4.0, where it's going to be using almost 22% of the IoT projects. The smart city is going to be taking 20%. and this trend is increasing each day on day. And the, if you are using the IoT applications, you'll definitely find the smart city as one of the biggest user of those applications. Right. So I have finished, ladies and gentlemen. Should you have any questions, we will take it on.
Yes, sir, we have a lot of questions. Let me. Here we have a question from Divya ma'am. Divya ma'am was asking, is command and control really controlling entire city, or it has some kind of restrictions?
It will be controlling the entire city. What is going to happen is that all the verticals which are going to be coming up, those the layer by layer, I'll just say, for example, the water management or the grid management or the traffic. So all the sensors related to the water or the grid or the traffic, there'll be a different layer which will get connected. On all the sensors which are there, uh, that data is going to be pushed back to the command and control center, where it will be monitored in real time, and it will be then displayed on the GIS, and you can see kind of, you are seeing that on the GIS you can see blobs where you can see, a buffer of red, blue, and green. In case of the things are good, it will be green. If the things are bad, it will be red. So the complete information can be visible on the data wall in command and control center.
Why we are saying a city as smart city? Is this just merely related to tech city or something else?
When we say a city smart is when we are trying to enable things in a smarter manner. That is how a city is being called smart. Why? Otherwise, there are different words being used, a hyper city or some other city by that terminology. But smart cities, that means we are easing out our work or the task what we do.
Okay,
And
okay.
and the enabler is the technology.
Another one is from same Divya ma'am. So how we make sure about data security while communicating within various departments?
Right. The security is a bigger challenge. Now, if I look at it from the data security point of view, the data ownership, the data lifecycle management or the security lifecycle management, still there are standards which are being evolved, and we are not come to a single platform where we say that we are very clear as to what will the data security like. Primarily, the problems are multifold. One, the information which is already available in an IoT device, the space is very less, and that information is being residing on, say, access point or a cloud computing or in a data center. The data, when it is rest, when the data is at motion, the data being utilized, the identity access management, these are the questions which are erupting quite a bit, right? And this will all get cleared in times to come.
And another question from Nimi ma'am. She was asking why smart cities and why not smart villages? And she is again saying India is a country of villages and we should concentrate on villages first rather than going for smart cities.
Okay. My answer to this is that India is a country of villages, and why we went in for smart cities is that we want to represent at a global level, and we have to first make our cities smart, because the when we talk about smart cities, the enablement of through the ICT or the IoT devices or the technology. People in cities are somewhat capable of using this technology, whereas our villages are still, a step behind. While we talk of smart cities, we also are talking of the smart village. But when we talk of the smart villages, their connotation is going to be different. Going to be talking of from a waste management system, or a solid waste management system. The smart education management. We'll be talking about smart agriculture management. So already there's a discussion of making villages smart. There are almost 6 lakh plus villages in the country, and there's already the thought process. I can share a few papers. I've written one article also on smart village as to what it is required to make a city, a village smart. So that will be taken out separate. Right? So smart villages and smart cities have to go parallelly, but with a different kind of technology usage in both. There will be not talking of a command and control center, a traffic management system, your environment management system, so parking lots, those kind of things are not going to be there in a smart village. So those it will be a very different kind of technology usage in smart.
I would like to know how can I be a part?
How can I be part of the smart? It's a very the question. It's very broad. If I can have a kind of granular thought process as to how you can be a part of the smart city project, it's all product based or a solution based. If you have a product which is IoT product for a smart city, we can always go in for and do a particular project for smart cities. If it is a solution, then we have to perforce go through the master system integrators, which are going to be doing the projects for the cities. So it is system specific or the solution specific when one can form part of. What do you mean by making smart everything? Who asked this question? I want to take this and I want to answer this question.
This question is from Nimi ma'am. Yeah, Nimi ma'am can
Okay.
ask these kind of questions.
No, you can tell her this. I need to answer
Yeah.
this question. When I say, what do I make, what do you make smart everything? I'm trying to talk of when we're going to be taken over by AI, and the human race is going to be taken over by almost the artificial intelligence is going to be taking over as equal to the human being by 2030, and the AI is going to take over humans. That's anticipated is 2045, right? And all this is going to happen. All the disruptive technologies which I spoke about, right? I because of the time paucity, I didn't elaborate that. Your VR, your AI, your deep learning, your machine learning, these are the technologies are going to be utilized through the IoT devices. The IoT will be one of the enablers which will give the information backend which will be processed. And 2030 is where the intelligence of the human of the AI of the robo is going to be as equal to the human, right? So it's going to be, that's why it's going to be everything smart.
And another one from Nimi ma'am. Are we taking all educational institute on a single platform or not?
Yes, what we're trying to do is, in case of the smart cities, all the schools which are there in each of the smart or the municipal corporation, there's a smart education system which is being coming up, and there's a platform which is going to be there. There's a content of education or the syllabi which is standardized for each of the schools, and it will be utilized for all the smart.
Kiran was saying, are there any guidelines to secure our communications network? And it might be a spoof to our security systems if we did not have any kind of guidelines. If we have guidelines, can you please provide the link or give some
Okay.
light on it?
Okay. This question is very interesting, and the answer can be very long. I can speak on this question for hours together, but I will tell. I think Kiran is online as of now. If you can unmute her number. Communication channels are end-to-end encrypted from, say, from device to at the to the cloud or otherwise. And standards today, when I was talking about the standards today, uh, they are fragmented. Why they are fragmented is the reason. Device has got a paucity of putting the, and when we go to the access point, there's a different kind of communication network or the communication device we are using. So uh, when we talk of the end-to-end communication from device to the cloud computing router, we are going to have a lot of things. When we talk of standards which are required, let's break the standards in a different manner. Now, say for example, a device. How do I have a device secure? I cannot have a kind of step authentication or a verification because I cannot push in a OTP which is kind of a human. Perforce, I have to use a digital certificate to ensure the authentication and authorization of a device. Okay, and thereafter, the encryption which is going to happen from the device, which is the MQTT channel, which actually sends a message to the access point, maybe over LoRa or 6LoWPAN. You know, those encryption standards, there are huge number of encryption standards in the market. So that standardization needs to take place. And if you're all aware, IETF or IEEE, they're coming up with all kind of standards which are, which different people are trying to follow. And if you look in from a country perspective or India as a nation perspective, we have to have a standardized kind of network which is there. When we look at from the kind of the encryption from, say, the access point, that is the layer, the physical layer communication, where we can have a bulk encryption which can be put up from the access point over the LoRa network, and that is how we have to have the communication. And when we're talking of the data which is flowing from a device to the cloud, we're going to have a AES-256. But AES-256, again, is a problem of. So when we talk of security, we have to have a kind of standardization all across. Yeah. And we can have a full discussion on the security aspect itself. And here I also like to mention about the life cycle management to Kiran, where the life cycle management of the complete device, why it's a challenge is that when a device is being positioned into the network, right, to the device, it gets obsolete. It has to be taken care of. And a new device.
So it looks like there is some kind of network.
Have any other question which was any pending thing which is left out?
There is one, I think that was the important. She was asking how much cloud computing is safe and how much we believe on it when we are getting everything of a city on cloud. It would not
Hmm.
it affect our security of a city in a country perspective?
See, it is like this. In the case of the cloud computing, the security is going to be a challenge. But how we look into it is that we have to have the right encryption and the data security in place, the SOCs in place, right?
Right,
If you don't have the SOC in place and we're going in for a normal data security, we are into a problem. Again, then we talk about the IAM, the identity access management of the people handling the data,
right,
right? The kind of the data at rest, the data centers in particular are very important, going to play a very important the cloud computing data centers. Okay, and when we talk of the data at rest has to be encrypted. Okay, and when we're talking of the cloud, the movement of the data across the cloud, especially, it's going to be a big challenge. So all those things which are there already in the case of cloud. So though we say that the cloud is not very safe, but then it's a trade-off between the haves and the have-nots. So whether we want the security or whether we are having the ease of living. So in effect, we have to work on those lines. Okay. But I am very sure with things in place in times to come, we'll have much kind of complicated algorithms which will come in, and there'll be a large number of algorithms which will be safeguarding the data in the right perspective.
right. So on the same note, let's say we have a multiple data centers. Whether we here we are not talking about private cloud computing, but we
We
are
are not talking
saying
of private apps.
yeah,
No
we
private cloud
yeah
computing.
we are saying public cloud computing. So in public cloud computing, we don't know where is our data stores. Like there are multiple data
But
centers.
okay. I got your point now. In the case of the smart cities, it is going to be more of, I'll not say the public cloud, it's a private public cloud combination. Okay,
Okay,
and it will be more so in the private cloud than the public cloud. Okay,
okay, okay,
so say for example, a data center which is in Bhopal,
right,
it's only serving the information for Bhopal. Okay,
okay.
so it's not going to serve the information for Bangalore. So it is city specific data. So it's more of a private cloud which is going to be taking place.
Okay, okay, okay.
So,
So,
so
uh,
if I look in from a one perspective, which I talk of, is that we are creating a silos within silos. The Bhopal cannot talk to Bangalore, and Bangalore cannot talk to Delhi.
right,
How it's going to happen. So it's a silo which we are creating within a silos. Okay, but it's going to be a private cloud, not a public cloud in that parlance.
okay, okay, okay. So, as a country, like as a government of India, do we have our own private cloud, or we are dependent on some kind of other cloud providers?
It is like, yeah, it's like this. As per the as a policy by government of India, all the smart city data center, all the data centers, I'll say all the smart cities which are coming up, they're coming up with a data center infrastructure themselves. Number one. Number two. if they are not bringing up the data center, they're going to be using the SWAN data centers, which are being created by NIC. And these data centers in the premises or the four boundaries of Indian country, right? So
Right.
the citizens' data will not get, pumped into the other part of the world and move out.
Okay. Okay. That would be safe, and I think
Yeah, that is where it's going to reside in the SWAN. You are aware of the SWAN networks which are available no? In all
yes,
the
yes,
cities.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So all the data centers are already existing. State data SDC, state data centers which are the SDDC networks.
Right, 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 right. That's great. I think this is the perfect answer to Kiran's questions.
Yeah.
So she
You,
might
I think
be,
you jotted
yeah.
you jotted down all the replies.
Yes, 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 I have. So thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. You give us
I hope it was
niche.
okay.
Yes, yes.